This is not a side dish, this is the star of the show. Today we're making stuffing, a cooking byproduct that has become a cherished part of the Thanksgiving meal. And the star of the show is the bread. In essence, the make or break of the whole recipe is how you turn this into cubed sponges for flavors, which makes the drying of the bread one of the most important parts of the recipe. Stale bread would almost never be as dry and definitely never be as evenly dried as oven-dried bread. And it doesn't take long to dry them in the oven. Whether you remove the crust is a personal choice. If you want more contrasting textures, you can keep them, but today we have a secret weapon later, so we're removing the crust. Today we're using white bread, but you can use any bread you fancy for this recipe. Another thing I like to do to enhance the flavor absorption even further is I like to tear them by hand so you get a rougher surface, more surface area to cling on to the wonderful flavors that we'll introduce later. About 1-inch cubes. One even layer, and into the oven they go, 120 for 10 to 12 minutes. Now, we check on the bread. You want to grab the largest piece and cut it in half. And the inside of the bread should feel at least 90% as dry as the outside. So this is good to go. Now, we bring the flavors. First, an onion. Perfect. Some celery. We're keeping it simple today, but of course you can introduce any flavor you fancy. Perfect. Now, medium high heat, and we melt some butter. You can use olive oil for a lighter finish. It looks like a lot, but I'm factoring in the bread going in later. Now, aromatic vegetables in. And we sweat them without color. What we want to achieve is that through gentle heat, we're evaporating the water content of the aromatic vegetables, concentrating their flavors and the sweetness in particular. We salt, which will also help us draw out the moisture. And this process takes 5 to 8 minutes, so take your time, don't rush it, so that you don't burn the sugar content. While the vegetables are sweating away, we prepare some herbs. First up, we have some sage, which for me is the star flavor of the stuffing, so we're quite generous. Bit of thyme, just for some earthiness, and we slice some parsley. Now, once the onions are slightly translucent, the sage and the thyme, they go in to help them release their essential oils and to intensify their flavors. We're not adding the parsley just yet because we want to keep that bright, fresh flavor. Now, once there's not much steam coming out, you know this is ready. Traditionally, we would then mix this with the bread, moisten that slightly with a liquid, and stuff it inside the carcass of a bird of your choosing. The moisture released from the bird would further season, moisten, and eventually cook the stuffing. Now, since I do not plan to overcook my turkey, that option is not available. So instead, we're going to use some stock. Today, to keep it vegetarian, we have some vegetable stock, but you can use chicken stock, turkey stock, dashi, whatever flavors and liquid you choose to use. We first add a small dash for all the flavors to further emulsify and for whatever flavor compounds that's water soluble to really have a chance come to the party. Now we add the parsley and we start to add the bread here directly. Give it a mix. A touch more stock. Look at these sponges. Suddenly all the drying is worth it, huh? More sponges, more flavorsome liquid. And we do it bit by bit to have the most control, to maximize flavor emulsification. Now we add the rest of our stock. Eventually, you want a 1-to-1 ratio in terms of weight between the fresh bread, not the dry bread, and the liquid you use. And now, with low heat, before adding this to a casserole dish and baking this in the oven, we're going to slowly simmer this for 5 minutes to really enhance the flavor absorption, to evenly distribute all the flavors, and for the starch of the bread to start to break down at this temperature and start binding with each other. It's one extra step, but it's definitely worth it. You see the mushy surface? That's the starch breaking down. Brilliant. Stove off. Here we have our baking tray. We're simply going to rub it with some butter, both to caramelize the sides and to prevent excessive sticking. Now the sponges. They really behave like sponges now, I'm not joking. You push them gently to remove any air pockets. Now, this first goes in with foil at 180 for 20 minutes. After 20 minutes, the foil comes off. Look at that. And to really take it to the next level in terms of contrasting texture. Here, I've toasted some dry breadcrumbs with the remaining butter. Normally, I would say this is optional, but we literally just dried bread, so there's no excuse. We add a very generous layer of butter toasted panko on top, and this would really give us the wonderful contrasting texture. Now, back into the oven, 10 to 15 minutes until golden. After 15 minutes, and the whole room smells like a sage-themed bakery, we have this beauty. Beautifully crunchy on top and still soft, wobbly, and extremely flavoursome on the inside. This is stuffing.